You're not imagining it. Of course, our money doesn't go as far as it used to, but what's actually happening to the dollar? Stay tuned to find out. And I'm officially checking in over here at Moments with Us. You all check in. Let us know where you're watching from and how you are doing. Of course, I'm checking in from Northern New Jersey. Let's head into this Dollar Tree over in Maplewood. Stable milk is also a plus.
These past few years showed me.
You're not imagining it. Your money does not go as far as it used to go. The dollar is actually losing its value or lost its value in a lot of situations. But we're about to find out exactly what is going on. Stay tuned. Hey family, welcome back to another video. This is Shauna, and I'm officially checking in over here at Moments with Us. You all check in. Let us know where you're watching from and how you are doing. Of course, I'm checking in from Northern New Jersey. And guys, if you've been feeling it lately, no matter where you shop, even your cheapest store, with a store that you used to be able to depend on, is not really so cheap anymore. Our dollar, and we've known this for years, right? Our dollar have been losing its value for years now. But I'm afraid to say that those years are speeding up fast, because when it comes down to me, I know that y'all can relate. Tell me if I'm wrong. When it comes down to me, I'm feeling like when I go into any store, it doesn't matter even if it's a Dollar Tree. If I go into any store, the more that I thought I would be spending, the more items I would get. But in reality, it's the other way around. The more I'm spending, it's like the less I'm getting. How can we make it make sense? So the dollar, it's actually losing its value real fast. We're going to jump into some things. I'm going to explain to you guys, how, why, where, what sections it's losing its value, some things to watch out for. And I know, like I said, some of y'all gonna be like, yeah, that's true. And I've been feeling it too, because I know I've been feeling it a lot lately. I mean, I've been knowing some people who've been good and on their feet for way too long and, living like this. And now they slowly, you can see it. They like, yeah, you got to get on that level now. Pinching the pockets are real. Like, literally pinching your pockets is real. But the dollar, that's lost its value. Let's go ahead and see exactly what's going on. You guys check in. Let us know where you're watching from and how you are doing. And let us know how y'all feel about the U.S. actually losing its dollar value. And why do you think it's happening? So first and foremost, did y'all already know that the dollar have lost over 90% of its value in the past 100 years? Y'all think 100 years is really a long time? Honestly, my great-grandmother, who recently just passed away, I think maybe, not recently, but maybe like a year ago at this point, she made it to 102 years. Now, that was, yes, it was a long life, but it feels like so short at the same time, right? Yeah, but no, guys. It's really lost 90% of its value over the past 100 years. If the dollar is losing its value, that means the purchasing power is going down. Y'all heard me, right? The purchasing power is going down. What does that mean? So let's say about 5 years ago, right? You had $100 and you could fill up your buggy, because some of y'all call it a buggy, your cart or whatever. You know that you can go into the grocery store and get you $100 of well worth groceries. I mean, from fruits, vegetables, from produce, from canned goods. You can throw in a few household staples and all. You know that $100 will actually take you somewhere. Versus now, if you go into the store with just that $100, right? Your purchasing power. With just that $100, guess what? What you coming out with? Leave it down in the comments right now. Even if you're making multiple comments, it's fine. Leave it down in the comments. What are you coming out of the store with That's $100. I mean, not itself, but what are you going to use $100 for in a store nowadays? Right? So that, let's say 10 bags, it's now going to get you 2 to 3 bags for 100 or more dollars. So the purchasing power, there's an example of the purchasing power actually going down. And this has become so many people realities and so many people see it. But I'm hoping that enough people care to realize that they should be prepared. Once the purchasing power goes down, once that dollar starts to lose its value, it doesn't really build back up necessarily. So it's really something to watch out for and pay attention to. But why? Why is the dollar losing its value? So we got to look at things like, we have to look at things like inflation. Printing more money, each dollar is actually worth less. At least that's what they say. The more money that they print, the less that it's worth. Okay? The Federal Reserve policy. So low interest rates sit for way too long. The government debt. We got to look at things like that. Trillions in national debt erodes trust. I mean, if you stay in debt for too long, that's just like if you're going for a lender. If you take too long to pay their money back, right? They're not gonna no longer want to lend to you. Even when it comes down to your bank, if you go over X amount of time that's in your contract, you get built on interest, right? Which is good for them. I mean, you're gonna pay them back extra money, but yet it lowers the trust that's put into you as a borrower, right? And then they're talking about massive spending. So y'all know during the COVID times there was like stimulus sent out. And then we got to look at things like the money that's being sent to wars and stuff like that. That actually affects us. Even if it's money that's being sent to wars, money being from the US being sent over to the wars. And other things also. So that affects us, and that actually cripples our dollar as well, even more. So something similar in the 70s was going on when Nixon said, foreign countries can no longer trade. It was money for gold for money, whichever, vice versa. So they went through a period of like inflation, unemployment, and stuff like that. And then things started to slowly climb back up. The point I'm trying to make is, I wonder when it comes down to now versus the 70s, because the 70s went through their time of their inflation, recession, and everything, it happened back then as well. But now what's going to happen, especially when there's so many programs, that people rely on, such as housing and SNAP benefits and Medicaid, and it's just so many programs. I'm just wondering, how would the economy start to kind of climb back up when a lot of these programs are being lost, and there will be like a lot of homelessness. When it comes down to the cost of rent, we know for a fact the cost of rent alone is ridiculous. It seems like a crime, the cost of rent alone. But comparing it back from the 70s to now, it's a little bit different, but I'm afraid that it's not going to climb back up as fast as it did back in the 70s versus now. So here's the issue with the dollar losing its value, right? So groceries and rent, which I just discussed, cost more. So things like your average everyday groceries, you got to have a roof over your head. I mean, some people do without both. You have to have that roof over your head. Groceries and rent, they cost more. The savings that we once had, it start to lose its value as well. So if you have your savings in your bank account, or you have your savings laying around, you'll notice that it start to lose its value. Even when it comes down to banks, you'll notice that, like if you have a CD, they like, well, if you put $10,000, which the normal person won't have laying around. If you put $10,000 towards this CD, you can have X, rate and interest added on to whatever the CD is, right? But that starts to lose its value too. Your savings start to lose its value too. Because 9 times out of 10, if you save $10,000 back then, you put it away and you want to use it now, That $10,000 is not going to get you what you once expected it would get you. It's going to get you way less now versus what you was intending to save it for. The $10,000 is not the same. That's what I mean. So if you saved $10,000 10 years ago, it will buy you less today. And then we fall into issues like global impact. So we have other countries that's actually questioning the dollar dominance, right? We have the rise of the BRICS, and it's actually backed by gold. And last time I checked, when it came down to BRICS currency, like I said, it's backed by gold. I don't think that the US is there yet. I'm not too sure. And then we have other issues when it comes, global wise. A lot of countries are reducing their reliability on the US dollar. And that's a major issue, especially when it comes down to things like trade as well. That is an issue. The US dollar and trade nowadays is like, that's it. That's it. We have a whole lot of issues with trade, but we're talking about the dollar right now. A whole lot of issues going on with that whole trade war. Oh, Lord. A whole lot. And that's why we're seeing things like in the store, we see things like disappearing still. It's like we get away from it a little bit and something just yank us back in harder. Like literally. We seeing the prices going up. We seeing things going missing from the shelves and it's never coming back. We seeing families struggle left to right, and it's not getting better. It's not getting better. So, have you felt the effects of inflation? Of course, let us know. I'm sure you have. Some of y'all already mentioned it in the comments. What are some things that you're doing to kind of help stay afloat right about now? What we're doing, we just making sure the bills are paid. Like I said, I mentioned this before. Even if we are just making it, the roof have to stay. We have to be able to provide. This is why we stay well prepared. Even if that check ain't make it, for this week, we know that we good for the week. We good for that week or 2 or 3 or whatever it is. If you have that stockpile to make sure that you're good until your check come through, honestly, it's a huge pressure lifted off of your shoulders. I'm telling you guys. A huge pressure. And this is why more people should become prepared. That the basic stockpile, I'm telling you, it will take you a long way. And at least, once you get into the house, you don't have to go hit up the grocery store because you ain't got it. You don't have to go run your credit card into Shams for some groceries because you ain't got it. Go open up that stockpile, make that struggle meal just because. It don't even have to be a struggle meal. Just go to your stockpile, get something out for dinner, lunch, whatever, and make it work. That's the purpose of those stockpiles. I'm telling y'all. Y'all, gas is up. Rent is up. And your paycheck, that's another story, right? Feels like it's shrinking. But what's really going on? The truth is the US dollar is losing its value fast. $100 in a year, let's say 1999-ish, 2000, could buy way more than it can buy today. Because today, it ain't buying nothing. And when it comes to things like inflation, the government keep printing money. Debt keeps rising. The interest rates have been low for way too long. And globally, countries are looking for ways to trade without the US dollar. Y'all think about it. Countries are looking for ways to trade without the US dollar. That's going to leave us in some trouble. So what are some things that you can do? You can learn, invest, and just try to stay ahead, honestly, because it's not just about the finances. It's really your money. Where is it going to go at the end of the day? How far is it going to take you? So, fam, that is pretty much it. Y'all gotta let us know, like, are y'all seriously feeling it now, or y'all just starting to feel it? But we all just have to, like I said, become better prepared if you're not. If you haven't started, start now. Why not? There's so many things to watch out for when it comes down to the dollar losing its value. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's going to cost us more. The more that it loses its value, the more it's actually going to cost us. Look at it like that. And one day you can have it, and the next day you possibly can, especially with prices going up the way it is. You know, it eats into your budget way too much and way too fast. And it is what it is. So we're going to leave this video right here where it's at. I want to thank you all for coming along with us today during today's Saturday video. Hopefully you all are having an amazing Saturday. If you are new here and you did enjoy today's video, you found it informative, all you have to do is subscribe. Just like that. Thank you very much. Like the video, drop a comment by checking in or sharing your thoughts. Share the video with your friends and family and let them know that the US dollar is definitely losing its value. I feel like we almost there. Because it's hard out here for the average family. I feel like we almost there. Yes, so we are officially up out of here. You all have an amazing rest of your weekend. If you didn't know, this is Shauna, and I'm officially checking out from Moments with Us. You all stay prepped, stay blessed, stay safe, and most of our remain beautiful queens and kings. Love you all, and God bless. Peace.